Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute, so it's gonna take me a while. Bear with me while I get used to talking to the camera again. But I'm happy and I'm super excited to be back. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about all the books that I read so far this year, and I'll be reading them and sharing my thoughts on them. Reading has really become a big part of my life recently within the past year and a half, so I wanted to make sure to implement more of that here in my channel. So that's why I decided to make this fun video so that hopefully you guys can, one, enjoy, and two, also get some book recommendations and we can talk about books, because why not? So please share your opinions and comments down in the section below. Excuse my plant. So I've made a Notion page at the beginning of the year. It's sort of a schedule of all the books that I wanted to read because I like reading according to the season of the year, whether it be fall, summer, or winter. So that's why I originally created this page. I already have a Notion page with all my books that I want to read, like all my TBRs. But then I created a schedule for 2023 of all the books I wanted to read according to the season. So I'm just going to go off of that to show you guys. And by the way, I am now a Kindle girl. And once I bought this, I'll share more about that later on the video. But once I started reading in this, game changer, guys. Game changer. I started reading a lot more. But again, we'll talk about that later. If I have the physical book, I will be picking it up and showing you guys. If not, I'll probably be inserting a picture somewhere on the screen. So in January, at the beginning of the year, 2023, I started with Bella Morte. I had a cover. I don't know where it is. Anyways, this book is about vampires and a world of vampires where it is normal to be a vampire and they are famous. They have this whole house where people go, humans go, and they get to basically be fed on by the vampire. And it's a whole thing. Everybody considers themselves lucky to go, but the main character does not think the same way as everybody does. But she goes into this house looking for her sister because her sister originally went to the house as well, but she never heard from her ever again. So then she decided to go and find out for herself where her sister is. So this book, I would definitely rate 3.5 to 4 stars. It was good, and there's a second part to it. I think it's called Revelation, which already came out, but honestly, I don't think I'm gonna read it just because I read this at the beginning of the year and I mainly forgot most of it, and I kind of will have to read it again to read the second book, and I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna leave it as that. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was definitely giving me Twilight vibes, like a lot. Probably too much. If you like Twilight, you will definitely enjoy this book. The second book that I read in January was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I definitely enjoyed this book a lot. It's basically a small town romance with a little bit of mystery. With a little bit of mystery. She has a twin sister who was the person who originally told her to go to this town. So she went into this town looking for her. She was also going through a lot herself, and she saw this as a way to basically escape her own world. So she came to the small town looking for her sister, and then she finds a lot of other things. And then the mystery is finding out what the sister is and what's going on. And then she meets this guy who's helping her along the way. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this book a lot. I will definitely give it a 4 stars. Moving on to February, I read Cackle. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Now, this book is basically about a girl named Annie who's going through more like she got dumped by her boyfriend, and she's moves into this whole new town, in this new apartment. Everything seems weird. Everything is fishy. There's something going on. She finds this new friend. And I'm not gonna give it away. I was expecting more, even though it was nice and I don't regret reading it. I was expecting more, but I will definitely give it a 3 stars. The next book I read, I don't know why I was reading witch stuff at the beginning of the year. I needed something fall, witch, magic, and that's why I read these 2 books. Anyway, it's called What You Gonna Do by Avery Flynn. And this book is basically about this girl, and she has a family who they're all magicians, they have magic, they have their witches and warlocks. And she basically made mistakes. Her spells go wrong. And the book is basically about her trying to fix things and get her family back with the help of this guy who she likes as well. Now, my opinions about this book was way too corny for me. It felt juvenile for me. Some of the things, the wording, and then how fast they fell in love did not make sense to me, and that is why I'm gonna rate it a 2-star. You can read it. I mean, it wasn't like I regretted it again, but definitely a 2-star for me. The third book that I read is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, and let me tell you, I actually enjoyed this book very, very, very much. I was scared at first because it's a lot about chemistry and science and all these things. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get into it. But I actually enjoyed this book a lot. Now, I did hear that all her other books are pretty much the same thing. They end up the same way. So I don't think I'll be reading her other books. I had a list of all the other ones that she has that I wanted to read. I think it was Love Hypothesis and some other ones. I don't think I'm gonna read them, but either way, I did enjoy this book and I'll definitely give it 3.5 stars. The last book of February is called The Five Print by Lauren Asher, and this is part of a 3-book series, and this was giving me Disney vibes. I don't know if this is what it's supposed to be, but it was giving me Disneyland vibes. It's a rich family that basically, in order for them to receive their money and their inheritance, they have to basically do a series of things. And there's 3 brothers, so there's 3 books, and each book go through each of their lives and basically their romance. And yeah, I would give this book a 3 stars. I've seen a lot of reviews about this and a lot of people love them, but honestly, it's okay. For me, it's okay. I will give it a 3 star. The only book that I read for March is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, my girl. She's the one that wrote A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I love her style of writing. I love all her books so far that I've read, and this book is amazing, guys. This book had me hooked from the beginning to the end. Red Kenny is on a road trip for spring break with 5 friends. When the RV breaks down in the middle of nowhere with no self-service, they soon realize this is no accident. They have been trapped by someone out there in the dark, someone who clearly wants them dead. I would rate this book a 4 stars. Now moving on to April, I read Killjoy again by Holly Jackson, and this one's a short story, and it was a continuation of the books A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I really loved this one as well. I rated a 4 stars. The next book that I read was We Were Liars by Elockhart, I think. There's a sticker there, I can't see it. Anyways, so this one is about a private island with rich people and a summer that was unforgettable. I'm not gonna give it away because I walk into this book without reading a lot of reviews or anything about it. So I think because of that factor is the only reason that I enjoyed it, because I was reading through it about 85%. I was wondering what is going on, where is this going? It was definitely summer vibe on an island, and I was just trying to figure out where this was going. And I was very surprised by the last twist on it, but I think if I would have read more reviews on it, I would have not enjoyed it. So go into this blind, trust me, and I will rate this book a 3.5. The next book that I read in the month of April is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book is so good, guys. It's amazing. Honestly, you guys can see my annotations. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's just the way that it was written. It really makes you connect with the character, and it's just a beautiful story. I will rate this book a 4.5. The next book that I read was the famous ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And this book was so good, and I wanted to get through it so bad that I felt like I read it too fast. So now I'm reading it again, as you guys can see, because I want to make sure that 1, I annotate, and 2, that I catch every little detail, because I want to finish the rest of the books, and there are too many of them, and it was hard for me to get into it at first, like to grab the book and read it, because I know there's so many books to the series. So it took me a while to grab it. Once I grabbed it, I loved it so much, and I'm definitely gonna finish the rest of the books, but after I read this book again. But I will rate this book a 5-star. Now, in the month of May is when I received my beautiful Kindle. So I read 3 physical books, and then I read 3 books on my Kindle. So on the physical books, I read One of Us Is Dead by Geneva Rose, and this book is all secrets, rich people, betrayal, backstabbing, all the things I love. So I will rate this book a 3.5 just because it took too long. The plot was great. It was amazing. The story, the character, it was fun. I loved it, but it took too long to get to the end. I didn't feel like it needed to be this long, giving all this information about like, the characters and all, and their life and their marriage, and then just give me a little bit of fun at the end, if you know what I mean. So for that reason, I will give it a 3.5. The second book I read was No One Will Miss Her by Kat Rosenfield. And to be honest, this is one of the books that you don't remember after you read. I figured it out like within the first chapter what was going on, to be honest. So for that reason, I will give it a 2.5. It's just unrealistic what happened in this book. But either way, it was fun. You know, it is what it is. So I will rate it a 2.5. Next book that I read was Hail Mary by Candy Stainer, and it's a football romance. And I read a sample of this book on my Kindle, and that's how I decided to purchase this book because I loved it so much. I loved it because it was different. The girl wasn't your typical girly girl. She loved playing video games, and she wanted to be a tattoo artist. And the guy was Spanish, which if you guys don't know, I am also Spanish. So he would throw certain words in Spanish, and I just felt like that was so fun. So for that reason, I will give this book a 4.5. Now onto my Kindle, I read That One Night by Emily Raff, and I'm looking over here because this is where my computer is. This is basically a one-night stand between a couple who they happened to meet in another state. They wanted to see their family members. One went for a wedding, one wants just to see his sister, and then they met, they had a one-night stand, and that's basically what the book is about. It's basically a short novella, and yeah, honestly, I would rate the book 3 stars. 2.5. I'm being generous. Now, the next Kindle book that I read was Credence by Penelope Douglas, and that was my first book from Penelope that I read, and honestly, it was a lot. That book is a lot. It took me a while to even rate it. I don't know what to rate it. I'm gonna rate it a 2.53, maybe a 2. It really has a lot of taboos in it. Would I recommend this book? Probably not. But there's a lot of other Penelope books that are good, but Credence honestly was not my favorite. Now, the next book that I read was Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. So Flicker in the Dark is basically a psychological thriller, and she's trying to find out the killer because something happened to one of her friends when she was young, and nobody ever find out who did it. And now she's older, a lot older, just getting married, and then it's happening again, and then she goes through this whole thing to see who the killer is. It was pretty good. I would say I will rate it a 3.5. Now for the month of June, all the books that I read, well, actually, except for one, all the books that I read were from my Kindle. Now, I started the month with This Hollow Bowels by Lexi Ryan, and then I purchased the second one on my Kindle, and that I read on my Kindle, and it was These Twisted Bonds, again by Lexi Ryan. And I actually enjoyed both of those books. It really had me hooked. It was only the second fantasy that I've read so far, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, after A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I actually loved it a lot. It had a love triangle, which I actually enjoyed. So I would rate these books, both of them 4.5. Next book that I read was Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. And I did not enjoy this book. The ending was great. Everything in between, I'm not sure. I will rate it at 2.5. Then I read the famous Haunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline by also H.D. Carlton. And I am obsessed with this book. I would rate them a 5-star. They just have a lot of everything. They have thriller, they have murder mystery. I don't know. They just have so much on them. There's so many different plots going on all at the same time. So for that reason, I really did enjoy it, and I gave it a 5 stars, both of them. Now the next book that I read was Never Lie by Freda McFadden, and this is when I started my Freda McFadden era because all her books are so good. They really have a way of like hooking you up. And this book is about a couple who's trying to buy a house because they're recently married, and they go to the showing of this house, but a storm happened, and then they're basically trapped there. But in the midst of all that, she finds a secret room with a lot of videotapes because the person who lived there was a psychologist. So she has a lot of tape and transcript of her patients and interviews, and a lot of things are uncovered on the book, and the twists at the ends are just delicious. So for that reason, I will rate this book a 4.5. Now, in terms of this bad boy right here, I have the Kindle Paperwhite, I think the 12th generation if I'm not mistaken. And I had it since May, and so far I've taken advantage of the subscription. I had 2 months free, the first 2 months, and then I've been paying the, I believe, $10.99. And yeah, I think it's worth it. I found a lot of books that I wanted to read, so I feel like in terms of the subscription, I feel like you do get your money's worth because from the unlimited subscription, I read quite a bit of book every month. If I were to purchase each and every one of them physically, it will be a lot of money. So for that reason, I do feel like it's worth it. I don't know why is it about reading on a Kindle that makes reading go so much faster. I remember in May, or I believe in June, I was reading so much on Kindle that when I picked up a physical book, I was trying to tap my physical books like as if it was a Kindle. Anyways, point is, this is worth it. Get it. If you guys are debating about it, just get it. Trust me, it's worth it. I got the color green. I'm not sure if that's the name. And then I added those stickers and the pop socket that I also got on Amazon. I love this thing so much, guys. Now for the month of July, I read also mostly Kindle books. I read Flock and Exodus by Kate Stewart, which are the first book and the second book. And honestly, the first one was good. I'm gonna rate it four stars. But then I just felt like it was a lot of the same thing. It was a lot more psychological things, and I wanted to know more about the plot of the story. She kept getting me annoying, trying to go back to them, and it was longer than it had to be. So for that reason, I'm gonna rate the second one a 2.5. Now on to my Freda McFadden. I read The Inmate, which I loved a lot. It was very simple, very straightforward, and the plot at the end, it was good. So I rate this one a 4.5. Then the next one I read was The Maid by Nita Prose. This one actually was a physical book. The Maid by Nita Prose. And it took me a minute to get into this book at first just because I felt bad for the main character of how people were treating her and how people would think about her just because she had certain I'm not gonna say disability, but she had like difficult kind of understanding social cues. But once I got into it, this book was really good and the ending was just amazing. I'm gonna rate this one a 4.5. Then I read The Housemaid by Freda McFadden and also The Housemaid's Secret, which is the second one to the Housemaid one. And I love both of this book. I'm gonna rate them a 4.5. And then for the month of August so far, I haven't read a lot because I went on vacation and basically took up most of my time and I haven't read much. The only book that I read for the month of August was The Coven by Harper L. Woods, and it's basically a witchy book. So I couldn't wait until September and October. I just wanted to read something with magic. So I read this. I came across this one called The Coven, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And the second one is actually coming at the end of this month, so I'm also gonna read that one as well. And I'm gonna rate this one a 4 stars. And also for the month of August, I'm currently reading it. It is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. But I'm reading this one, then I'm going to read One of Us is Next and One of Us is Back, which also recently came out. And I'm going to read all of them for the month of August. Hopefully I'm able to do it by the end of the month. But this is where I am so far, and so far I enjoy it. I heard there is a show on it on Peacock. So I'm probably gonna read all of them first, and then I'm gonna go into the show and see what I think, which one I like better. Along those lines, I'm also going to read Two Can Keep a Secret, which if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know I love the show Pretty Little Liars, and Two Can Keep a Secret is giving me the same vibe. I'm not sure if one came out first, and I don't know, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's the same thing. I'm excited to read that one, and it's also by the same author, so I'm excited for that. So that is it, guys. That is all the books that I've read so far and what I think of them. Please let me know down on the comment section, what do you guys think, which one you guys enjoy, which one you guys are interested in reading, and I would like to know, and we can chit chat some more. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I will be making a new video of all the books that I want to read for fall, which are witch magic related, dark academia, all that kind of vibes, and also for the month of October. So I will probably be sharing, I don't know if I'm going to add it to my September reset or if I'm just going to do a separate video, but I want to show you guys all the books that I want to read for the months of September and October, which are all fall related. So I'm excited for all of them. I really been waiting all year for September, so yeah, I'm excited to share with you guys that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you super soon. Bye.